Well, hello, stamping friends. Thank you for joining me today. I've got a beautiful pile of things that start with B. And I'm going to go ahead and explain all of them to you. So today, stamping school letter is B. Let's go ahead and get started. Some of you are probably already guessing all of these things. The first thing I'm going to talk about are the blocks. Stampin' Up! Has quite a variety of sizes and shapes. And they all have, a similar purpose. They all have the same purpose, really. Well, if I really want to get creative, there are things you can do with these blends or with these blocks that don't have anything to do with putting a stamp on them. But for the most part, the blocks are designed for you to put a, there we go, to put a stamp on, a cling stamp or a photopolymer stamp. So this is a photopolymer stamp. They're clear, so you can see through them, and they adhere just super easily. Stampin' Up! Provides has a variety of sizes and shapes, like I already said. The shape that I use the most, or the size that I use the most is the D block. I tend to just use the same size for pretty much everything. Some people will make sure that they're using the A block for a tiny stamp. Some people will use the C block for a sentiment, or G. This is the G block. I just like how this one fits in my hand. So roll up my sleeves a little bit there. All right, so here's the cling stamp. This is from the new set that I just got. It's called Warmest Wishes. Look at how cute this is. Thermoses. So I'm going to do just a few things with this today. Now I'm going to first of all make sure that my stamp fits on there. This one is a little snug, so I may have to go on the diagonal. And that's how the cling stamps or the photopolymer the cling, this is a photopolymer. I also have a cling, another new set that I have just been using a lot for my teacher friends. These are the red rubber, or the cling stamps. So I'll go ahead and take another D block and again, just place it on there. I like to place it on there the way the block is the most comfortable in my hand. Now, if I'm going to stamp this pencil straight, I'm just going to hold it a little differently. Sometimes I do position them straight. So B is for blocks. The other thing B is for a bone folder. A bone folder is used whenever you want to make a nice crisp fold. So typically we would score this on our score pal, but you don't always have to. If I just want to fold this in half, I can use this tip to help hold it down, and I'm going to flatten it just like that. Obviously, I've gotten some pink on here, which seems very permanent. Some people use this end, some people use the flat side. It doesn't really matter, but the bone folder is helpful in getting a crisp fold. B is for blocks and bone folder. The other thing that B is for in the Stampin' world is bling. And I know some people can be a little confused about what bling means. Bling just means any sort of adhesive backed pearl or jewel or gem or sequin that you affix to the front of your card. Could even be a little brass butterfly. These are more like a sprinkle. So, but all of these are considered bling. I would say that this is probably the original bling. There's a little bit of a glare there. These rhinestones are a basic supply in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, and they can be colored, and I will show you that next. A lot of these can be colored, especially the lighter colored ones. Let's see. Let's go with those. Okay, so B is for blocks, B is for bone folder, and B is for bling. The next thing B is for is blends. And as long as we're talking about bling, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can change the color of your bling. So there's a few on here. Is this going to show up? Let me get a piece of white. Okay, so here's my bling, and I have got out my light cherry cobbler and my dark cherry cobbler. I'm going to use the light. I'm going to use the brush tip, and I'm going to, ooh, this brush tip has been very well loved. I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this rhinestone to cherry cobbler. And this is a permanent, it won't come off color. So there's a use of blends, because the next thing on our list is B is for blends. So these are the blends. They come in pairs. They come in a light color and a dark color. As you can see, my Daffodil Delight and my Cherry Cobbler have been well loved. So I've taken some washi tape to remind me that these sides are not working very well. And so I have replacements. Let me show you what the blends are for. I'm going to get my black Memento ink. You must use black Memento ink when you are coloring with the blends. If you use another type of ink, the blends will bleed. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the thermos. Got a little extra dot on there that I'm going to have to take care of on my stamp. And I'm going to stamp the pencil since I had already put both of those on. Okay, I'm going to set those out of the way, close up my Memento, and now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to blend on these two very simple stamped images. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my dark cherry cobbler. I want my thermos to be a real red. Let me pull this down a little bit. Get a little bit more space. All right, so I'm going to start by coloring, and you can use the brush end for this too. I typically prefer the blunt end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color this side of my thermos. And I don't have to be super careful because these are blends. The beauty of the alcohol blend is that when you're done, it doesn't leave a line like a regular marker does. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the light cherry cobbler, and I'm going to color the whole thermos. I'm even going to color over the side that I did with the dark. And you'll see what's going to happen here is the dark and the light color are going to blend together. I'm still seeing a distinct marker line difference there, but in time, these will blend. Sometimes it takes a second. You have to step away, do something else, and then you'll see, can't use that end. I better tape that one shut too. The longer it sits, the more these colors will all blend together. So let me just get all the color laid down first. Okay, so now it doesn't look that great yet. But do you see up here where I've gone over it a few times? You don't see as distinct color differences. So I'm going to keep blending until I have this all blended nicely together. And in the end, what you're going to have is a thermos that has that natural shaded side where the light is not hitting it. Just a little more here. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. I want the lid to be silver gray. So I'm going to do the same thing with my dark smoky slate. I'm going to start with the dark on this side. The thing with the blends is that you want to practice on something that isn't going to be your final project, because the first time I used the blends, I thought, oh my goodness, these are bleeding outside the line. Well, the more you practice with them and the more you get the feel for what pressure to use, the less you will have any bleeding. So again, I'm just going over these a couple times, and you'll see how those colors just naturally blend together. I think that's pretty good on the lid. Let's see. I feel like the bottom and the handle could just be black, and I'm not going to do any blending there. And that's an example of how to use the blends. I still have a little bit of a overlap here, so I might go over this again with the light. You also want to be careful of what your surface underneath your cardstock is, because these do go through. The more I go over it, the more it will blend. Let me show you the back. So they do go through. So this isn't something I would want on the inside of my card. I'm going to want to cut this out and pop it up. Let's go ahead and do the pencil so you can see that with the yellows. So with the pencil, again, I'm going to start over on this side. I tend to typically always use this side as my dark side. I'm going to now color the whole pencil yellow. Daffodil Delight. This is going to all blend together. I'm going to grab a different Daffodil Delight. That one seemed like it was drying out. I think I need to order some Daffodil Delight markers. Blends. Yellow is a popular color for blending because of flowers. Okay, now let's get some blending. Oops, sorry. Get some blending going here. You can see the shading start to happen. I'm going to use some dark bubble bath on the left side of the eraser. I'm going to color over that with the light bubble bath. That one blended really nicely, didn't it? And I'm going to use dark petal pink for this part that would be like the, I guess the inside of the pencil. I maybe should have used something a little bit darker, but we're okay with it for now. And then maybe a little bit of smoky slate for these two little pieces. And those don't need to be blended. There you go. Do you see how you can make your stamps look just a little bit more realistic by just throwing on a little more color? I like how this kind of gives the illusion of that it's metal. Okay, so B is for blends. B is for blends. They come in 2 packs. You always get a light and a dark. Okay, the other thing that B is for is blending brushes. So these are called blending brushes. These work with an ink pad. So let's go ahead, and I have several, and I kind of keep them within color families. So anything in the yellow family, I'm going to use this brush for. They also are washable, so you can run these under the sink and clean them, and almost all the color will come off. All right, blending brushes. You're going to take your blending brush, put a firm pressure with your index finger on the brush, and you can simply lay some color down on your card, and then you could come in back in with a stamp, and I'll just use this one from my set that I had open here. Get my black ink, and let's say this was the inside of your card and you just wanted to add a little color to it. So there's one way that you can use the blending brush. Very, very simple. Typically, I tell people to start after you've inked up your brush. Either start in the very middle of where you want your color to be laid down, or let me grab a scrap paper here, or come in from the outside, because the first place that you set your blending brush down onto the paper is where you're going to have the darkest color. So if you don't want it super dark right in the middle, blend a little off or come in from the edge. And again, go ahead and stamp whatever you want on top of those. We could do this. I'll get all kinds of things going here. Let's see. Thank you for everything you do. Just a little color behind it. We could also add to that. Ooh, this is super sticky. We could also add to that this nurse's stethoscope, and we've got the start of a really fun card. So lots of things. Okay, that's one way to use the blending brush. Let me show you another way. If I take a punch, this is a retired daisy punch, and I punch out a daisy, I can, using just a little bit of adhesive, I can set this down. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on here. Okay, I can set this down on here. Now I can come back in. Oh, I'm getting warm. Got to take my jacket off here. I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight again. Ink that up. I've got my daisy temporarily glued down, and now I'm just going to go over the whole daisy. You know what's going to happen. Ooh, it moved a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. There we go. Now I've got my daisy right there. If I want, I could put I could play around with this. Make this very homemade looking. This is not impressive at all, but you get the idea. It's probably more impressive if I do a circle. So let's go ahead. I've punched out a circle with my circle punch. I'm going to put just a little adhesive on that, and I'm going to set that in the center, or set that, like, this could be on the front of my card, inside of my card, it could be on the envelope. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my blending brush to lay ink all around that. And now when I take this off, I have a perfect circle to, again, either stamp a sentiment or a, let's see, do I have one here? Well, let's just go ahead with the pencil again. It's not going to fit right in there, but you get the idea. This would be cool for a sun on your page. So using your punches as masks for your blending brush. The other thing you can do is when you're finished with your card and you just want a little bit of color on the edge just to pop your card, you can use your blending brush to do that. So it just adds a little bit of color to the edge. There are a lot of things you can do with the blending brushes, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's see, have I covered all the Stampin' Up! Things that start with B? We've talked about, let's just review, blocks, all the different sizes and shapes. You can buy these in a set or you can buy them individually. The set actually comes with a carrying case. Let me raise up my camera a little bit. B is also for bone folder, used to fold anything that needs to be folded and give you a nice crisp fold, bone folder. Blending brushes, used to go around a stencil, used to just make the words on your page pop, or used to go around the edges. Blends. Blends are used to color things in and make them look a little bit more like they have a dimension. Remember that you have to use Memento ink if you're coloring with the blends. And the last thing is B is for bling. I'm going to go ahead and take something that I've created here today and make a card out of it. Heaven help me. And I will send it to you guys. I actually could probably make I'm going to make 4 cards. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I've made with something that starts with the letter B, please reach out, comment below, and let me know. Remember, as always, when you like and follow my page, when you comment more than just liking my page, it helps my business. So it grows my viewership and helps me grow my business as I start this new adventure. So thank you for turning in to Stampin' School today, and we'll see you soon for the letter C.